right off, let me say I'm not a Democrat or a liberal. I'm a classical liberal. I don't consider myself a purist libertarian, but as far as major political parties go, I mean, I guess still a minor political party, the Libertarian Party is the closest that resembles my beliefs. That being said, I'm typically and often a follower of some right-wing media, such as Mark Dice, Red, Right, and True, a little bit of InfoWars here and there, Steven Crowder, so on and so forth. Definitely not one-sided when it comes to my news sources. However, sometimes right-wing media gets ridiculous, and yes, so does libertarian media. However, when Mark Dice claims that John McCain endorses Hillary Clinton just by retracting his vote from Donald Trump, seriously? Just like if I decide to vote for Gary Johnson, I am voting for Hillary Clinton. Well, we all know how Mark Dice feels about Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson can't name a world leader that he likes. Unfit. Donald Trump supports stop and frisk, which is unconstitutional, and no fly, no buy, which is also unconstitutional, but he is fit for president. This is why I feel alienated away from the Republican movement in 2016. It's no longer a liberty movement or a conservative movement. I love the Constitution of the United States of America. I think it could have more expansive and detailed portions of the Bill of Rights, and I think it would be better if it limited government a little more. Look, as a classical liberal, Donald Trump is kind of growing on me. But this is the type of fear-mongering that right-wingers are made fun of for. We need to distance ourselves from the path of lack of objectivity that we are going down, where we shit on completely reasonable people and come to mental conclusions that only a game of mental gymnastics can bring you to. Come on, guys. I consider myself part of the alt-right, an obscene right-wing movement to counteract the even more obscene left-wing movement. This is ridiculous. I do think Donald Trump could do some good by destroying the current establishment. I still think he's an authoritarian. That's another video. But seriously, Mark Dice, there's not a single ounce of logic that somehow suggests not endorsing Donald Trump is a default endorsement for Hillary Clinton.
We came, we saw, he died. Look. We came, we saw, he died. Look. We came, we saw, he died.
That's the most arrogant, dishonest, biased game of mental gymnastics I have ever witnessed, and it does more negative to the right-wing movement than actually helping it. And that's the same rhetoric that assures that the two-party duopoly stays in power. And shitting on completely reasonable people like Gary Johnson for fear of him siphoning votes from Donald Trump. Newsflash, if you want to win against Hillary Clinton, you could have voted Rand Paul, the real liberty grassroots candidate that the Hillary campaign was shown to have feared being the Republican nominee. Someone who had no problem calling out Hillary Clinton face to face about Benghazi and the handling of classified emails in the most classy way ever, making it sting with class.
Secretary Clinton, and I'm glad to see your health is improving. One of the things that disappointed me most about the original 9/11 was no one was fired. We spent trillions of dollars, but there were a lot of human errors. These are judgment errors, and the people who make judgment errors need to be replaced, fired, and no longer in a position of making these judgment calls. It's a failure of leadership that they weren't done in advance, and 4 lives were cost because of this. I'm glad that you're accepting responsibility. I think that ultimately with your leaving, you accept the culpability for the worst tragedy since 9/11. Had I been president at the time, and I found that you did not read the cables from Benghazi, you did not read the cables from Ambassador Stevens, I would have relieved you of your post. I think it's inexcusable. The thing is that, we can understand that you're not reading every cable. I can understand that maybe you're not aware of the cable from the ambassador in Vienna that asked for $100,000 for an electrical charging station. I can understand that maybe you're not aware that your department spent $100,000 on 3 comedians who went to India on a promotional tour called Make Chi Not War. But I think you might be able to understand and might be aware of the $80 million spent on a consulate in Mashar al-Sharif that will never be built. I think it's inexcusable that you did not know about this and that you did not read these cables. I would think by anybody's estimation, Libya has to have been one of the hottest of hot spots around the world. Not to know of the request for securities really, I think, cost these people their lives. Their lives could have been saved had someone been more available, had someone been aware of these things, more on top of the job.
To Turkey? I will have to take that question for the record. Nobody's ever raised that with me.
It's been in news reports that ships have been leaving from Libya and that they may have weapons. And what I'd like to know is the annex that was close by, were they involved with procuring, buying, selling, obtaining weapons? And were any of these weapons being transferred to other countries, any countries, Turkey included?
Well, Senator, you'll have to direct that question to the agency that ran the annex. And I will see what information is available, and
You're saying you don't know?
I do not know. I don't have any information on that. And